We are back at the mill today. It's been a while since I've done any milling. I haven't been real motivated to do a lot of milling because I have way more logs than I need for my own project. As I've talked about some over the last few months, early last summer people just quit buying lumber around here. I quit milling lumber because if nobody's buying it, there's no sense in milling it. But in the last couple weeks, I have noticed a sudden change in the lumber market. As we mill up a few of these logs, we'll talk about that a little bit. I cut these logs back in, I think it was November. I cut them into 16-foot lengths with the thought that after I got them to the mill, I could cut them into 8-foot lengths. This one's not straight enough to efficiently cut into 16, so I was going to just cut it into 8s. But now I want some 10-foot lumber because earlier this week I sold all the 10-foot material I had. But this one has a crook in it and possible defect just above 10 feet. So I'm going to cut this off here where I can see there were some strange things that happened to the tree in the past. This is a good sign. Looks like we cut below any defect. There's just a slight discoloration of the center, a little yellowing that happens around rotten spots. But that's no big deal. Looks like this is going to have some good wood. I haven't been milling lumber to sell since early summer or late spring, but I've had some leftover lumber that I've been advertising for, trying to sell ever since then. And there's almost been no interest in it at all. It wasn't a huge amount, so not a big deal. Just all of a sudden last year, people quit buying. I've had ads up for months with almost no response. Then all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, people start responding. I sold one batch of it last week, then I sold another. I'm supposed to meet someone tomorrow afternoon to sell the rest of it. If that doesn't work out and he doesn't buy it, I have 3 more people who say they want it. After a long stretch of what seems like almost no interest at all in lumber, all of a sudden, things have changed. People are buying lumber again. Those don't look too bad. Small knots. Best of luck trying to find anything like these at the lumber store. I thought I might have to scrap this top piece, just a 6-footer, because it has this defect in it. But since the wood on the end looks so good, there might not be much defect in it after all. What's with this sudden increase in demand for lumber? Is it some kind of an economic indicator? Something changed in the economy? I have noticed that Home Depot prices have come up just a little bit. I'm wondering if maybe it's just the time of the year and the weather. In the last few weeks, we've been getting quite a bit of rainy weather here, but in between storms, we've had some days that just feel like spring. Maybe people are starting to feel like spring is near, time to start working on projects or thinking about projects, time to start looking for building materials. I don't know, I'm just guessing. The little bit of milling I've been doing in the last few months has just been for my own use. I'm doing it more like a hobbyist. A hobbyist. Why doesn't the jingle happen when I say it? Remember how I said in the beginning that it looked like there might be a defect in this log because of what the bark looked like? This is all it was. That's it. It was all just a big to-do about nothing. These boards are almost perfect, except for being 6 foot instead of 8 foot now. I have found 6 foot boards aren't as easy to sell, but once in a while someone will come along and want 6 foot. Now I'm loading up this load of lumber to take to a customer down the hill. There's a spot down there where we can meet and transfer. I've been storing this dry lumber inside this shipping container, which is also a kiln, a wood stove fired kiln. I made a video about that a while back. I've never actually dried lumber in it before. It was for another product, another business I had. Right now it's just a dry place to store lumber. When I cut lumber, I try to keep it out of the rain, keep it clean, partly keep it out of the rain to keep it from molding. I go through all this effort to try to keep the lumber nice and dry and clean. But then the customer comes up, and a lot of times they have a trailer that has mud in it. The last one had a combination of snow, mud, and gravel, and they just throw the lumber right in the dirt. Since it seems like most customers don't really care anyway, is it worth the time and effort I put into trying to keep it out of the rain and keep it clean? Probably so, keeping it clean, but maybe not so much the rain. That's it. Now I have half of this container almost cleared out. Now to go through all this cedar and pine and decide what I want to keep and what I want to sell. And now I have half of my flatbed trailer back. These logs have been sitting on it since November. I'm not sure what good half of a flatbed trailer is going to do me, but I have it. I only rolled half of them off because if I put all of them down there, I run out of room for maneuvering vehicles down there. It's starting to seem like I'm stretching for content here. I could mill up another log, but it's getting late and I think it's going to start raining here in a bit. I could just end the video here, but some people have been telling me they wish my videos were longer. What could I show you? I think I did see a stick over here the other day. I thought I saw it over here. Here's a partly charred and torrefied stick, but I think that's a different stick. The other one was longer. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe a coyote ran off with it. Oh, I know. I could show you what's going on in the greenhouse. Some of you may have noticed this greenhouse in the background. I did do another video about the greenhouse, but that's been quite a while ago. See, this is what we're supposed to do when we have a YouTube channel. We do a thumbnail and a headline to get you to click on it, which is about one thing. Then we do a whole bunch of other things for filler that aren't even related to what the headline was. You see, I have to do one of these once in a while, otherwise I might lose my YouTube content creator card. A lot of times in Oregon or California, when someone says they have a greenhouse, a lot of people probably get an idea of what that probably means. But in this case, it's just food. This greenhouse has been supplying me with greens all winter. It looks like a weed patch, but these are all edible things. Got turnip greens, cilantro, kale, more kale, a different kind of kale, arugula. I always thought it was arugula, but I'm being told it's called arugula. Mustard greens, Swiss chard, a few radishes back there. On normal years here, we get into December, January, it usually slows way down, almost stops growing. But this year it's been an unusually warm, unusually sunny year. It's doing very well. But the last few weeks we've been having a lot of clouds and rain, and it's really slowed down. But it's still keeping up with me. I still pick a whole bunch of this every night for salads. Usually by the end of January into February, that's when things in here really start growing. So I should have plenty of greens in here to last me until the ones in the garden start producing. I could have started out this video by saying something like, hey everybody, looks like people are starting to buy lumber now again. I don't know why they are, but I think I might start cutting a little bit of lumber to sell now. I could have addressed the whole title of this video in just those few seconds. But here we are doing all of this. Just the way it goes on YouTube. I know what I was going to show you, Sawdust Mountain. For those of you who are looking forward to watching the second annual snowboarding of Sawdust Mountain, if you saw the first one last year, I don't think it's going to happen this year. It's getting toward the end of January. The most snow we've had on here was 4 inches. I was tempted to do it when we had 4, but it just wasn't deep enough. As we're getting into the end of January, we're losing our window for when we usually have the deepest snow. People seem to enjoy watching that video last year. I think they mostly just liked watching me fall down. I'll put a link to that one in the description and in the comments and probably in one of these corners. I'll let you go watch that. I think it's only like 3 minutes. That may be the best I'll be able to do for this year. It's starting to rain. I'm out.